everyone, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and you're joining me at the end of the opening lap in this Mazda MX-5 Cup race with Low Fuel Motorsport. It's been a fiercely competitive first lap, but I'm looking good in a solid 9th position, and I've got the speed down this long Mugello straight to pull alongside Karel Weich and get past him to move up into 8th place. But the real danger lies ahead. There is a pack of cars 4 wide and they're weaving. Contact is inevitable. One car is already in the barrier and I'm going to get torpedoed from the left-hand side, which sends me out of the race at turn 1. And it's not going to be safe to get back on track until every car has come by, so we are now right at the back of the pack. And just like that, my race is over. I was concentrating so hard on that big incident in front, I had no idea what was going on behind me. Unfortunately, it was this melee. That's me in the gold 58 car getting spun around. Now we're going to watch the incident again following Karel Weich. That's me to the right. I've just got past him. But watch Weich now. He turns into the right, hits the car to his inside. He also hits the car in front of him, and both of them get pushed into me. So not much I could have done to avoid that. I was fully aware of what was going on in front of me, but of course I had no control over the behaviour of the drivers behind, and that sent me out of the race 1 lap in. It was actually pretty frustrating because I had competitive pace here. I had high hopes of a good finish, so I've come back to try the race again, and I'll be starting from P9 on the grid. Now, of course, Assetto Corsa is a brand new sim for LFM. It's a rookie series and there are loads of first-time drivers. Can we survive race 2 at Mugello? Well, we're underway. We actually got a pretty decent getaway as the red lights went out there, so hopefully we may be able to hold on to this 9th position. Coming down into T1, I'm going to have the inside line, which I'm certainly going to hold on to. I don't want anyone sneaking up my inside here and trying a dive bomb, so we'll move over as far to the right as we can, leave as much space on the outside as we can, and hope for the best. We're looking okay at the moment. There's actually quite a lot of space through this first turn. We do have Clementino Rossi alongside us. In fact, Rossi is going to get his nose in front of us through Luco. I've got no choice but to leave him space. Any contact there with me turning in would have been a definite crash, but we come out through Poggio Secco. We find ourselves down to 10th position and under pressure from Gerton Malero behind. Malero's going to have a look up the inside, as is Federico Poloni. Thankfully, they both thought better of it. Malero, though, did run a little bit deep in there. That'll give us some breathing room behind. Meanwhile, in front, a gap is already starting to open up. Hopefully, I can do something about that. Maybe sooner rather than later, because Clementino Rossi making a move up the inside of Daniel Satirov. There's contact. Well, I thought for a moment we were going to lose Satirov in that yellow Mazda, but he's not only held onto the car, he's held onto his position as well. So it's Satirov in 8th, Rossi in 9th, and we're in 10th. Satirov is wide, exiting that corner, he's out onto the grass. Is that going to give Rossi another invitation to make a move? He thinks better of it. Well, we knew this race was going to be frantic, and so far it is living up to the hype. We're going to be under pressure again now from Gerson Malero behind. Malero's already had 1 nip at us. He's going to have another one, so I'm going to defend into this right-hander. It's a very long corner, this turn 12, so I've given Malero no other option than to go wide. He's not going to get around me here as long as I get to this chicane in front of him, and we do, just. I've got a feeling, though, that it's not going to be easy to hold off Malero. He is looking like he means business here, so I'm going to have to defend again into the final turn. We move over to the left, hug the inside line. He's got to go wide, but of course that might give him an advantage going down the start-finish straight. It's such a long straight here, and Malero is going to get on the gas a bit earlier than me by virtue of that wider line. So I'm glancing to my rearview mirror, and I'm expecting to see Malero get bigger and bigger the further we get down the straight. Meanwhile, look ahead, they're 3 wide. And that could work in my favour. If Malero does get alongside me, he's going to have nowhere to go. So I think I'll just hug this inside line again. I'll follow the white Mazda ahead of Vizcolor Aldizia. And Rossi to the left is way wide. There may be space for us on the inside. As I say that, we get a proper thump from Rossi as he tries to close the door. Well, I don't think that was an unreasonable move. There was certainly space for me up the inside to attempt it. We'll go back and check out a replay. And Rossi is the dark green car to the far right of this 3-wide battle. Look at that gap up the inside. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was entitled to go for that gap. I mean, I held it pretty tight once I had that inside line. I suspect that Rossi just wasn't aware that I was there and tried to turn in to hit the apex. So we're up into P9, chasing Aldizia in P8 and Satirov in P7. Aldizia's having a look up the inside into this chicane. It takes a brave driver to get a pass done there. However, he's really wide on exit. A gap opens up for us. We could challenge here for 8th position. We're going to have the inside line for Casanova, but it's still going to be tricky to get the pass done because we're side by side through this section, which means we're going to have to hang it out wider through turn 7, Savelli. However, we have got the power to get past Aldizia around the outside and move up into 8th place. And as we work our way through the 2 Arrabbiata corners, normally it would be flat out around here, but I've had to lift due to my compromised line in getting that pass done. So that'll give Aldizia a little sniff of making a pass back up the inside into this right-hander. Thankfully, we managed to hold him off. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the progress I'm making at the moment. Let's go back and check out a replay of that overtake. Now, I wasn't fully confident I'd get the job done here, despite having the inside line for Casanova. I knew I'd have to take a wider entry into Savelli. Thankfully, though, I was carrying enough momentum to get the job done, so we're returning to the live action on lap 4 in P8. Aldizia's still giving me all sorts of problems behind, while Satirov ahead has opened up a 1-second advantage. However, he's going to make a big mistake into this section. He's out on the grass to the inside, and that is going to severely hamper his exit speed. So all of a sudden, we're closing right in on that yellow Mazda, and we're pulling Aldizia along with us. Once again, I'm going to have to defend through this long turn 12. The gap to Satirov in front down to 0.6 of a second now, but Aldizia behind just 0.2 of a second, so it's getting really close here. But at the moment, I don't think I'm quite close enough to Satirov to be able to get in his toe and make a move down the start-finish straight. The same can't be said of Aldizia, though. He is right behind me. So again, we're taking the defensive line into this final corner. And look at Aldizia in the rearview mirror. He's been really clever there. He knew I was going to be taking a tighter line, so he just hung it out a little bit wider to give him more momentum, get on the gas a little bit earlier out of the corner, and as a result, he is carrying a lot of extra speed, plus the toe. He moves out to the left, so he's surely going to pull alongside here. All I can do is hold this defensive line. And we're almost side by side now. I've got about a half a car length advantage. Now, if I can just stay alongside him into the first corner, he's going to have to go wide. We may have a chance of holding on to this position here because it's really tough to pass around the outside. But Aldizia has done really well there. He's kept his nose just far enough alongside so that I can't close the door, and as a result, he gets the inside line into turn 2 and makes the pass through Poggio Secco. Yeah, fantastic racing there. As soon as Aldizia got his nose far enough alongside me, I wasn't able to close the door going into turn 2. I had to leave him space, and he was able to carry the momentum through the rest of the corner. So we're down to P9 then. We've got a little bit of a gap back to Sergio Ortiz in 10th. He's 1.5 seconds back. However, my main aim is to stick with these two guys in front. They're both fairly quick. The yellow flags are out, so has there been an incident further ahead? It looks like there's a green Mazda rejoining. And it's Santi Heraz. He was one of the front runners, qualified in P4. He's certainly down on pace. The two cars in front of me both get past Heraz. But unfortunately, I just don't think I'm quite close enough to get through as well. But we're going to tuck right in behind that green car now, and all of a sudden, we're in a proper battle. Look how close we are. 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, separated by just 1 second. Now, we don't know what sort of incident Heraz had a couple of corners ago, so he could be carrying damage. There may be an opportunity to get past him down the start-finish straight. We're certainly close enough to pick up a bit of a tow coming out of this final turn. We're certainly close enough to tuck right in behind him here and take full advantage of the extra miles per hour on offer. Now, the big question is, which way is he going to go? Is he going to stay on the racing line, or is he going to move over and defend? It looks like he's staying out wide, so this is a great opportunity to get our 8th position back here. We're side by side, so we're going to have the advantage into T1, but I've got to remember what happened with Aldizia a lap ago. He kept his nose alongside and had the advantage into turn 2, so I've got to try and make sure I get far enough ahead of Heraz not to let that happen a second time. It looks like we've done it. I'm a car length in front, so I close off the gap, take a slightly tighter entry into turn 2, and we've got the job done. And coming out of Poggio Secco, we may have a sniff of 7th because Aldizia was really sluggish there. It's his turn to defend now, so that sends us out wide. Very unlikely we're going to make an overtake from this position though, so I'm going to tuck back in behind Aldizia. It will compromise our exit a little bit coming out. I just clipped the curb on the inside too. That won't do me any favours. But at the moment we're okay. We are back into 8th position. Right, let's check out the replay to see what happened to Santi Heraz. Well, he's out onto the grass exiting Arrabbiata too, and it's only going to get worse from there. He brakes a little bit too late, probably some dirty tyres as well, and he completely gets it wrong going into turn 10. And although I wasn't able to capitalise there and then, I was able to get past him at the start of the next lap. So we're returning to the live action now, approaching 2/3 race distance. I'm still in P8. I've still got Heraz breathing down my neck. He's just 0.4 of a second back in 9th. But look at this battle in front. Aldizia's going to make a move up the inside into turn 2. There's contact with Satirov. Somehow they both survive, but Aldizia is down on pace. We've got no option but to go to the outside. Can we carry the speed wide? And look at Heraz. He's going to try and squeeze in between the pair of us with 3 wide approaching Batarassi. I'm already on the defensive line, so I've got no choice but to defend and hope for the best. And somehow we've held on to it. We're up into P7. Wow. Well, this is my type of sim race. Fierce competition, but fair and clean. I mean, it got a little bit rough with Aldizia's move up the inside of Satirov there, but thankfully I was able to capitalise. I hung it out wide to try and get past Aldizia. Look at Heraz. He tries to force his way down the middle. At this point, we're 3 wide. Thankfully, Aldizia backs out of it. And I managed to hold on. I find myself up into 7th position. We're approaching 3/4 race distance now, and there's still nothing I can do to shake off Heraz behind. He's just 0.5 of a second back, and we're going to give him a real opportunity to attack here because I'm wide through the final turn. I can't get on the gas as early as I would like. So look in the rearview mirror. We can see the extra speed that Heraz is carrying. Once again, he's going to pull alongside me, and once again, all I can do is defend. We're side by side. Oh yeah, he's carrying so much extra speed. He is going to be in front of me before we even make it to T1. So I think I've got to accept that I've surrendered this 7th position. Heraz is going to make it to the apex first. He closes the door, so there's nowhere for me to go. Oh, and as we exit the corner, I'm just a little bit greedy on the gas. That caused a bit of oversteer. I had to correct it. That will cost me a 10th or 2. And that'll mean that Sergio Ortiz behind is as close as he's been for several laps now. That gap back to him is just 1 second. Meanwhile, in front, Heraz is looking like he wants to make a move on Satirov. I'm in 2 minds over what strategy to take here. Do I try and snap back on Heraz as quickly as possible, or do I just hang back and see what he's got in his locker for challenging Satirov? It looks like I need to go with the first option. Well, this move up the inside into Casanova worked for me earlier in the race. I wasn't quite far enough alongside Heraz to do the same again though. That green Mazda is looking really ragged, however. He's a little bit wide exiting, so he's clearly feeling the pressure here. And if I can stay right on him through Arrabbiata 1 and 2, we may be able to ruffle his feathers just a little bit here and force him into an error. Well, the one person who's rubbing his hands with glee at this battle is Daniel Satirov. He's been able to open up a 1.2 second advantage. Oh, but he's lost it! Satirov slides out of 6th position, and we find ourselves up another place. Well, I was hoping that the mistake would come from Heraz right in front of me. I wasn't expecting it to come from Daniel Satirov, but he just carries too much speed into this corner. He clips a bit of the grass on the inside too, and that's what sends him into the gravel. Right, back to the live action. We're in the final 5 minutes of the race now, and we are all over Heraz. Can we force our way into the top 6? I do feel like I'm marginally faster than Heraz, but a little bit of extra speed is one thing. Getting past him is another proposition entirely. I'm going to try and get as close as I can out of the final turn. In fact, I got a little bit too close then. I just had to lift momentarily where I didn't want to, but we are still close enough to get a tow here. So I suspect he's going to defend just like I did the other occasions when I was in his position. So it's my turn to move to the outside. Can I get far enough alongside and a car length past to get to the apex first? I'm half a car length ahead as we approach the 100-yard side. I'm not close enough to get to the apex and close the door off, so I'm going to have to hang it out wide. It looks like Heraz is going to hold on to this one for now, but we're in a proper fight here for the top 6. Well, we can't rule out Sergio Ortiz behind as well. He is closer still. He's 0.7 of a second back now, so Ortiz is reeling the pair of us in. The longer I fight with Heraz, the more chance Ortiz has to get alongside us and make it a 3-way fight. This is the section of the track that I know I'm quicker than Haraz as we exit Borgo San Lorenzo and begin the charge to Casanova. Can I get on the inside? Well, no, I can't because Haraz is defending, so I've got to go out wide. There's no room there. I have to back off. We're applying all sorts of pressure to that green Mazda now. Can we make him crack? I had a cleaner run through Savelli. That's going to give me some extra speed into Arrabbiata 1. Now, can I try a later entry to tuck it up the inside? If I can get on the inside into Arrabbiata 2, I'm going to have the inside for the next corner as well. It's tight. Haraz is leaving me the space that I need, but he's carrying the extra momentum and he holds on to P6. Oh, this is incredible battling. Look in the rearview mirror. Sergio Ortiz is now right on our tail. He's just 0.2 of a second back to Ortiz, and he has dragged Gerson Malero along with him as well. And with just 3 minutes of the race left, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th are separated by less than a second. And Malero making a move up the inside of Ortiz through turn 12. There was a little bit of contact between them. That will slow them both down, and that plays to my advantage. The pair of them are now 1 second back. Right, let's jump forward to the next lap. Time is beginning to run out now. We've got little more than 90 seconds left on the clock, and I am trying everything I possibly can to find a way around Haraz, but at the moment, it's just not happening. He knows I'm stronger through this section of the track, so he is defending excellently. I'm going to have a sniff up the inside here. It wasn't really on, but at this point in the race, I am willing to try anything. Well, I don't have to worry about what's going on behind me. That is one thing, because both Malero and Ortiz have dropped to nearly 2 seconds back, so we're just going to skip forward a little bit later in the lap, because Haraz is going to finally make a mistake through Pelagio. He gets his exit line all wrong, so he's down on speed and he's forced to make the only sensible decision, and that is to defend into turn 12 and send me out wide. I opt against going out wide. I decide to tuck back in behind him. I don't really want to attempt an overtake here. I want to try and get as close to him as I possibly can for the start-finish straight, but unfortunately it didn't work. He just stayed far enough ahead for me not to be able to use the toe. So we're going to jump forward now to the final lap, and I'll find myself 0.5 of a second behind. So I'm beginning to think my chances of a top 6 are slipping through my grasp here. However, the yellow flags are out. Have we lost someone else? We have. There's a car rejoining ahead, and it's Diaz who's crashed out of 3rd position. I'm going to run it out a little bit wider for space, but I run it out too wide. I'm out onto the gravel, so although we get past Diaz, we're going to be under attack now from Malero. But thankfully, with Diaz on my inside, there was no way through for Malero. He had to get on the brakes hard. That was really close. It's allowed Haraz to make a break for it. He's 1 second clear. I am in P6, but I'm going to have my work cut out to hold on to it, because not only have I got Malero for company now, I've got Diaz for company as well, who is going to be seething after throwing away a podium on the very last lap. So what can we do from here? We've got half a lap still to go. We're actually closing in on Haraz again. It was 1 second. It's now down to half a second again. We couldn't get 5th, could we? Well, if we do, it's probably going to be down to a mistake from Haraz, and also the best final corner I've ever taken. Realistically, though, I think I need to forget about that car in front, because look how close the two behind are. We've only got a couple of corners to go now, so I think defence is going to be my only real option here. The last thing I want to do is have Diaz and Malero try and sling it up the inside into the final turn. I'm looking particularly at Diaz in the rearview mirror. He's not quite close enough yet. However, I will just take a slightly tighter entry, get to the apex early. We've done everything right so far. Now all that's left to do is get on the gas at the right time. We don't want to lose speed coming out of this corner. It looks like we've done enough. Diaz is just 0.3 of a second behind. He's close enough to pick up a toe, but he's not close enough to get alongside before we cross the line and take 6th position. What a race! Before we check out the classified results, let's see a replay of that Diaz accident. He absolutely hurtled into Materassi there way too fast and spun out. That cost him a podium, and it promoted me up to P6. My fastest lap in the race was a 2:10.8. That's about 7/10 slower than my qualifying time, but given that I didn't have any peace and quiet in this race, I didn't have one clear lap, I can't grumble too much about that, and I certainly can't grumble about the quality of the racing here. It was supreme. This is exactly what I want from sim racing. Close, fierce, competitive racing, but clean. For all the battles I was in, there was very little contact. Every driver out there showing a great amount of respect and skill. So far, I think it's fair to say that the driving standards we've seen in Assetto Corsa on Low Fuel Motorsport haven't been the best. And that's not a dig. This is a new sim on the platform. It's a rookie series with lots of first-time drivers. However, this race has shown it at its very, very best.